So I just got back from seeing You, Me, and Tuscany, and I must say I had mixed feelings about going to see it as I was going in. Of course, I liked Rege Jean-Page. I remember when he was on a Shonda Rhimes show, like a legal show that didn't last very long. Liked him in Bridgerton, became a fan of his when he did Bridgerton, so I did want to see him. Halle Bailey, I went to support her when she did The Little Mermaid. I was really disappointed with how certain things turned out in her personal life. Subsequent to that, I felt that she kind of threw away a lot of opportunities unnecessarily. Although I do understand she is very young, and obviously there are people around her who are not 100% gunning for her to win. And so I'm hoping, she grows from that. And so I was happy to see a mainstream, wide release rom-com with two black leads. Rege Jean-Page, she's biracial, but phenotypically he reads, as black. And I understand that Will Packer, who I believe he directed Girls Trip and a lot of other great films, was a director for this one. He may be just a producer, I'm not sure at this point, but he was involved. Everything I've seen by him has been quality. I had actually forgotten before I went into the film, but happy to see when I got there. And didn't have a lot of great expectations. It was just something to go see. And like I said, I did want to support them. I am someone who is considers myself a film lover and TV lover, and of course, am always concerned about Black women's opportunities in film, and there are very a few in film. Since around 2013 or so, there have been more opportunities in streaming and some opportunities in TV. Very, very few, though, in film to this day. And so, for that reason as well, I wanted to go. And so I went earlier today. I like going to early shows, and I was pleasantly surprised in a way. So, the story is your basic rom com. Anything, we've all seen them on Netflix and like Amazon. And going in as well, I said to myself, why are they putting this in wide release in a theater? I said, this could be on Amazon or something. But I was really, really happy when I watched the movie that it was in theaters because they shot a lot of it, obviously, on location in Tuscany, Italy. And with all the money that they put in it, it's absolutely worth it to see it the largest screen possible. There were a lot of wide shots of the countryside that they were in. There was a vineyard where Rege Jean-Page, where he worked or he, basically ran it. And there were wide shots of that. They showed shots of the houses, the Italian kind of like villas. There were shots of food that were really, really beautiful. And so I felt like big screen is really what does it the best justice, even if the story itself is not remarkable, right? And so it's about a character named Anna, and she is kind of at a loss in her life. She's a young girl, she's single, but she dropped out of culinary school about 2 months before she was supposed to graduate. Her, I won't really say what led to that, but something in her personal life led to that. And she's been just house sitting for people, and got in trouble in one of her house sitting jobs and was even more at a loss. So she's hanging out with her best friend. Her best friend works at a hotel. She's about to become a mom herself. Her friend is trying to like cheer her up, but she's working. So she goes to hang out at the hotel bar. She meets this guy. He's an Italian guy. He tells her, about his house. He shows her a picture of his house in Italy. He hasn't been back there though for a year because he's hiding from his family, basically, who want him to go into the family business, and but he doesn't want to do it. They get along really well, but there's sort of a connection. And long story short, he encourages her to live her dreams and go for what you want, that sort of thing. And long story short, she ends up in Tuscany with nowhere to go, nowhere to stay. And so she remembers, the house he showed her. She has a picture of the house on her phone. So she can see the little like address on it. She basically breaks into his house. His family catches her, and she lies that she is this guy's fiance, and hijinks ensue. Um, she meets Rege Jean-Page. He's almost the first guy that she meets, and they hate each other instantly, right? So it's more of like a enemies to lovers type, trope. And meets the whole family. They love her. They are heartbroken that they haven't seen their son in a year. He hasn't had any contact with them, and so when she says that she's going to marry him, I mean, of course they're happy their son is going to, he's finally settling down. She says he's going to come meet her there. I mean, they're thrilled. The grandma is a little bit suspicious, but the mom is thrilled. The sister is thrilled. It turns out that Rege is like the guy's cousin, but they were raised as brothers. And it really, as I was watching it, felt to me like a film that we need right now, particularly Black people, particularly Black women. It is a high quality production, and it's just a really heartwarming film. Now, a lot of people will look at it and feel they don't have anything in common with this character, but we all have dreams. We all have stuff that we would love to do with our lives, and basically that's what this is about as well. I think a lot of us can open our minds and very much relate to it. It was wonderful seeing a film about a Black woman who, though she had personal challenges, was basically living a fun life, a really great life. She wasn't struggling. Yeah, she is a young, kind of broke person, but that was not the central theme of her existence. The setting of the film as well, just her friend worked in a really great hotel, beautiful hotel, the house or apartment where she was the house sitter, gorgeous apartment, gorgeous clothes. when she goes to Italy, a beautiful countryside and a really nice home. It was just really wonderful to see a young black female character situated in such a way. The story itself is, pretty predictable, but very enjoyable. That's the whole reason why we should go to films like this. I think in terms of the men, same thing. It was nice seeing a black guy being the romantic lead and not be kind of couched in struggle or couched in deprivation that so many people across the whole planet seem as if they're unable to relate to black stories on film unless something like that is involved. Um, and it's not. They don't make her out to be. She doesn't come from a wealthy family. It's not that kind of situation. But the setting, the set design, um, her whole situation is not this kind of like desperate type situation that we are used to seeing black women in, particularly coming off of a year with, one battle after another. Um, the way that, black women were portrayed in that film, this kind of film is very much needed to kind of counteract that image. And as a matter of fact, if there were more films like this, I wouldn't mind the one battle after another's so much. But there aren't. And so it's really important that people are able to appreciate this. I really appreciated the fact that they gave the character some interiority and they gave her a backstory that elicited compassion. They also gave Rege Jean-Page a backstory that elicited some compassion and made him a three-dimensional character. They gave Anna, Halle Bailey's character, a best friend. She meets people along the way that she bonds with. She almost has like instant family everywhere she goes. And that was really, really a wonderful thing to see. And so it is important, I think, for us, for everyone, to be comfortable with regular run of the mill, heartwarming stories starring black people. And so I feel like this is a film we all need to see right now. We know what's going on in the world. And it's just such a crazy place right now to take 2 hours out and sit and watch this and take in a really sweet story with a fabulous setting, beautiful setting. There are scenes of just, gorgeous food. There's a really, I don't want to say funny, but lighthearted scene where there's this thing called a barrel race, and so the camera kind of follows that competition where like all the so many people in the town are entered into this like barrel racing competition. Um, it's just really, really nice, and it's the kind of film that we need right now, and particularly black people. And I would love to see people go out and see it. And another thing that is really great about it is that it truly showcases what a what a talent Halle Bailey is. She has so much presence on the screen. She has a depth of emotion that she brings to the film. She has a warmth that she brings to the screen. She is very, very credible. Again, in what a lot of people might consider a really non-credible type situation, um, but very credible, authentic, but she fits, right in. And she's a young lady that should have an incredible career, and she's a young lady who should be getting the ingenue treatment. You know what I mean? She should be doing what the Sydney Sweeneys are doing. She's beautiful and she's actually very talented. And this film showcases that quite well. I would say she has the most talent of all the people in the cast, Rege included, but he does all right. He's really just there for eye candy, I think, which he is. So, yeah, that is my review of You Me Tuscany. It is truly the film that we didn't know we needed right now. Let me know what you guys think. If you like the commentary, hit like, hit subscribe. Let me know. Love to hear your thoughts, and I always love hearing people's thoughts about, um, you know, you know, black women particularly, but black men as well, and the roles that we currently have on screen. One of the things I'm always interested in is how we can use culture, film, in this case, even something as light on the surface as a rom com, as a way to examine ourselves, examine our character, and use it to build character. And in terms of character, what this film really made me think about is how we rebuild ourselves after things fall apart, especially when what's happened is completely out of our control. Anna's first instinct is to run, to escape, to avoid, and to be a little dishonest with herself and the people around her. And I think that the film suggests that we don't really begin to rebuild ourselves until we start telling the truth, first to ourselves and then to others. It also makes the point that there may be less to fear than we think. You can stumble, you can act in ways that aren't worthy of trust, and people can still forgive you. They can still accept you. And I thought that was one of the more meaningful aspects of the film. I'd actually be curious to how others respond to loss, whether it's the loss of a person, a dream, your youth, your body, even your sense of self, and what it looks like for you to move through that or rebuild after that. What was the first step that you took, or what was um, the first kind of sense of insight you had about how to go about doing that? I'd be interested to hear. Thanks so much for listening. Like and subscribe if you'd like to hear more. Take care for now.